everybody. Welcome to another episode of Seeker's Corner. Today I'm having a little bit of fun and talking about a series that inspired me and my witchy self when I was little. And that's Sailor Moon. You can see I pulled out some of my old Sailor Moon junk from when I was a kid, and yes, that is a vanity. I really consider turning it into a scrying mirror like all the time. It pops into my head like once a month. It's my favorite thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about Sailor Moon. And I can hear some of you out there already thinking, Sailor Moon wasn't a witch, and neither were the Sailor Scouts. And I'm actually going to argue against that. Now, they might not have used the word witch. In fact, magical girl is the term for this kind of superhero. But they definitely were super witchy. I mean, first of all, they used magic. Second of all, it was a bunch of really badass superhero ladies all working together. I call that a coven. And they worked with planetary energy and crystal magic and all sorts of other stuff like that. Sailor Jupiter could even control plants because she was part of the wood element. They had elemental associations even. So Sailor Moon is super witchy. And if you want to learn a little bit about some of the witchcraft that you can learn from Sailor Moon, or if you want to learn to incorporate it a little bit into your practice, that is what we are talking about today. I hope the music in the background is not too loud. If it is too loud, for the love of God, please let me know. I've got a little Sailor Moon playlist. Okay, so Sailor Moon, for me anyways, was my first female superhero. She was my Wonder Woman. Before Sailor Moon, some of my heroes when I was younger were like Madeline and Pippi Longstocking and stuff like that. They weren't really superheroes. When I started getting into superheroes, all I had was the Ninja Turtles, who were my fave, and Spider-Man, who was also my fave, and other like guy superheroes. And I liked the groups. I liked the Ninja Turtles, and I loved the X-Men. I loved when Spider-Man would work with other superheroes. They would come on the show, but I didn't have anything for girls because girls didn't watch superheroes, right? And then shortly before I discovered witchcraft, Sailor Moon came onto YTV here in Canada, and it blew my mind. She was my Wonder Woman. She was my first female superhero, and I was so excited to find her and the whole gang. The whole Geek Witch. Yes, so slight caveat to the Geek Witch situation here. I want to preface this by saying I am not into all anime. Sailor Moon is pretty much where I tap out. Some other things I also watched were like Pokemon, which was on TV, Visions of Escaflowne, which is absolute garbage if you go back and watch it, but I loved it. And I watched a lot of Gundam Wing with my brother and Dragon Ball Before the Z. Whoa. Wow, old school. So I didn't watch a lot of anime, so sorry friends, I'm not going to be doing this on a regular. But Sailor Moon was it was the epitome of my life for many, many years. Moon Prism Power, yeah! Moon Prism Power, Moon Crystal Power, I'm so excited, you guys. Okay, so the magical girl superhero genre, like I said, totally changed my life. It's all about honoring the strength and the magic of young girls, and it's girls specifically, young girls. There is so much magic and strength in young girls, these teen girls. And throughout the show, you watch these teens mature through, as they evolve spiritually through their magic and through their connection with their planets that they, came from. They're space babes. You got to remember this. They're space babes. So through spiritual development and evolution, they mature as young women and eventually as queens and princesses and leaders of their own style of magic and their own people. So it is they were very, very much a witch coven, and no one will tell me differently. I was in an anime club in high school, but I didn't see Sailor Moon until a few weeks ago. Kay, I am so sad for you. Sailor Moon's the bomb. If you've never watched Sailor Moon, and if you don't like subtitles, you can find the English dub on YouTube. You can find a lot of the episodes there. You can even find the Japanese stuff. Let me see if I even have these anymore. I actually had the first couple of episodes on VHS tape. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I just made a mess. Unfortunately, the very glittery pink covers are gone, but look at that. Sailor Moon, A Moon Star is Born, episode 1 on a VHS tape. I'm going to put that right. Oh, I have no room on my little altar. I'll put it here. So Yeah, y'all gotta watch Sailor Moon. You can find it, I promise. So, the Magical Girls was all about honoring the strength and the magic that is inherent in young girls and young women and teenagers, even when they're young. Now, they were not infallible heroes, which was amazing because it showed that you could grow very spiritually through difficult situations, through failures, through crying spells, through feeling like you can't do it, feeling like you've lost all of your friends, feeling like you have nobody and you don't belong here and you're from another planet. All of these things are something that was shown as a source of strength and magic for the girls. So there was lots of really cool spiritual and emotional development for these girls throughout the whole series. They go through tons of really amazing stuff. The series went on for a long time further in Japan than it ever did in Canada or in an English dub. So there's a lot out there for you to find. But one of my favorite things about Sailor Moon, and it was really wild at the time, like I said, most of my superheroes I found were guy stuff. They were Ninja Turtles, it was Spider-Man, and I'm not saying that stuff can't be fun for girls, because in my school I was known as the girl with the red Ninja Turtles lunchbox. So there was definitely in there with the superheroes, but there was nothing that made it clear that being a little bit more feminine was okay. You know, boys shows always have jokes about, you know, boys being sissies and stuff. That's not for me. What I liked most about Sailor Moon is that they took the superhero genre and they wrapped it in glitter and crystals and magic, and they gave them, you know, cute little short skirts and episodes, you know, they're covered in bows and they're transforming in space and everything's beautiful and glittery and pink and purple. It was amazing. It was amazing. And they were no less strong and badass than any of the male superhero counterparts that I saw in TV or in comic books when I was younger. Yeah, never too old to be a Sailor Scout or the best Poké Trainer of all time. You know what? After Pokemon Go came out, I agree with that. And the Game Boy games of Pokemon are still literally the best video game ever made. No one can ever convince me otherwise. I still love them. I want Moon and Sun so bad, even though I don't have a Game Boy. I have to buy a new one. Okay, so Sailor Moon, it was a big deal. It was also coming out at the same time as Girl Power, so we can just, you know, roll up Sailor Moon with the Spice Girls and you can kind of get a hold of what my identity was at this time. So I loved these badass space bitches that used magic. I loved it. It was my life. The Sailor Scouts were an incredible group of women, and they all, since they're all coming from different planets, they all have different planetary energy, they wear planetary outfits, they use the planetary symbols, and you can use all of that stuff in your magic. So if you ever want to work with, say, the planetary energy of Mars, especially if you don't have deities already, and you don't need to have Barbies, but Sailor Mars, for example, is an incredible Sailor Scout because she was one of the ones that had magic. All of the Sailor Scouts had little extra gifts outside of their magic powers and their wands and stuff like that. And Sailor Mars was really cool because she worked in a shrine, and so she was friends with crows. She said prayers, she meditated over the fire, she had psychic dreams, and before she was even a Sailor Scout, she used prayer flags, little prayer pieces of paper. I'm thinking of it in the show now. She used to pop them on people's faces. And even before she was a Sailor Scout, this would drop people in their tracks because they are a prayer against evil spirits. So the Sailor Scouts, for sure, had real, genuine magic and have really fit with these archetypes. Now, Mars is not usually thought of as a psychic planet, but it is definitely the planet of warriors, and that's what Sailor Mars is. She was an incredible warrior. She worked with fire just like the planet of Mars. She was incredibly strong. She spoke her mind all the time, and she wasn't afraid to get exactly what she wanted, no matter what. That was Sailor Mars. I consider that to be an incredibly strong magical archetype, and you could definitely use that as your basis for your planetary energy. Likewise, you could use her adorable Sailor Mars, Sailor Scout, her Mars symbol that is a heart instead of a circle. I love those. I think those are great. I actually use Sailor Moon imagery a lot on my blog. In my planetary retrograde blog post, I used an image of all the Sailor Scouts holding their transforming pens that have their planetary symbol and colors on them. And then further in the blog post I did as well. And no one seemed to know, like no one was like, oh my God, Sailor Moon, this is so clever. No one even noticed. So I want you guys to go back and check that out. But like I said, there's lots of different ways to incorporate these feelings you get from watching the show, or any of the impressions you have about planetary energy from watching Sailor Moon into your magic. Lord knows I do. I definitely think of the Sailor Scouts a lot of times and some of their personality attributes when I think of the attributes of that planet. So don't feel ashamed if you do that too, because I totally do it. And within the show, there was lots of really cool nods to magic, to stuff that is usually considered kind of feminine or girly or sparkly or beautiful. And one of those things is crystals. Crystals came up a lot in Sailor Moon. Crystals were a lot of the sources of their power. Every Sailor Scout had a crystal star seed inside them that held the energy of their planet. And Sailor Moon wielded crystals all the time to heal others, to banish evil and evil people, to correct destruction. She healed the planet of the moon with her crystal wand. So she obviously worked with the magic and energy of crystals. Now, they don't say like quartz and rose quartz. Not quite like Steven Universe. It's not quite so literal. But you can definitely use crystals and imagine that kind of energy. Consider those images that you saw in the show or in the comic book and the manga, if you ever read that as well. So, crystal magic, there was tons of it. There was also lots of references to moon goddesses and moon mythology. Even if you look at just the names of the 3 cats in the show, again, cats, totally witchy. Sailor Moon had a black cat, come on. The 3 cats are named Luna, Artemis, and Diana. Artemis is a boy cat, and yet he is named after Artemis, the virgin goddess of the moon. Yet again, symbolizing that even when a male ally comes in to help the Sailor Scouts out, he is still definitely showing homage to the young, like teenage goddesses and queens of old. So I think that is a really cool lesson in Sailor Moon. That's something, because I was a Greek mythology nerd at the time. I was such a cliche. It was so cute. I love describing myself now. I'm like, oh, I'm an adorable cliche. I knew about Greek mythology, so that was something I noticed right away, and I always thought that was really, really neat. Of all the cats to get the name Artemis, it was the boy cat. I noticed. I definitely noticed. They also, a lot of the imagery of the moon princesses and of even the cats when they transformed into a human form, they all resembled sort of classical images of moon goddesses. They had similar hair, they had moons on their foreheads, which is something I've seen in a lot of all sorts of ancient artwork, and even some modern artwork that calls on moon goddesses. They show these similar features to the Sailor Moon characters and the fact that that planetary energy is kind of inside. And then there's the Sailor Scouts themselves and all of their different planetary energy. It totally lines up most of the time with how we use the planetary energy in magic. Mercury, for example, Sailor Mercury, she represents intelligence. She works with technology and communication. And even outside of her Sailor Scout magical uniform change, she can work with dowsing without a rod. She can locate things with water. Sailor Mars, like I said, is a shy girl. She uses prayers, she speaks to crows, she uses fire meditations to divine the future, and she has prophetic dreams. Sailor Jupiter, not only was Sailor Jupiter the character like kind of bigger than other girls and stronger, and that made her feel uncomfortable, which is funny because Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, but she was also, she had a big heart. She was really related to the home, to kind of earthy stuff like that. She loved her home. She loved to cook. She could also work with, she worked with the element of thunder, of lightning, just like Jupiter, the god from ancient Rome. And she was also aligned with the wood element, so she could work with planets and trees, and she could make them grow and make them come to her aid. Sailor Venus, of course, was the Sailor Scout of love. Sailor Scout of love. She was so cute. She used beautiful kiss motions. She had a magical chain made of lit hearts that she wore around her waist, which was really beautiful. She had one of the nicer uniforms, I think. And she also had another identity, I guess, as Sailor V. She got a little bit of fame there, which is a very Venus quality. Getting a little bit of fame, adoration for your beauty and your, your badassness a little bit is a very Venus quality. Saturn was the most mysterious. She was the Sailor Scout of silence, death, solitude, and time. Though she shared time with her caretaker, Sailor Pluto, who was the caretaker of Saturn, the Solar Scout that wielded time the most, but Saturn, of course, was a child. I think that makes perfect sense. And death and darkness. She could send people through time and everything with the help of a magical key and crystal. Again, two very magical symbols. And then Neptune and Uranus, of course, not only were they lesbians in a relationship, which was very uncommon back then. In the English dub, they tried to work it out, but none of us were fooled. So they had these lesbian characters, Neptune and Uranus. Neptune was a musician. She was very into water, but in a very deep way, deep water. She was very mysterious and she played the violin. She worked with music and with water, with mirror imagery. All of these are very, very, all of these are very Neptune qualities. Yes, in the English dub, they tried to pass them off as cousins. But they were cousins that were always like cuddling and holding hands and like, they were very intimate and loving, and it was just not believable. We all knew. Everyone knew. Even the people who didn't read the Japanese stories knew that those two were in love, because they were. And Uranus was very steady and hard, but very loving and protective, which is very good energy for the planet Uranus. So you can definitely use those archetypes to represent planetary energy in your own work, and you can very surely be inspired. If you want to exemplify some of that energy a little bit more, think a bit about the personality traits of that Sailor Scout. So Jupiter's my girl there. Maybe throw on some brown and some green, or some little pink rose earrings, because those are so cute. And work with the earth, work with plants, work with your home. Be a very Jupiter girl one day. You can always do stuff like that. The bad guys in Sailor Moon were all named after crystals in the first season. Queen Beryl was evil. Beryl is, Blue Beryl is aquamarine. We also have jadeite, nephrite, zoisite, and kunzite. Zoisite I actually have in the other room. Jade, I usually have my jade with me, and I'm not wearing it today. These are all crystals that you can work with, and you can use some of the personality traits of the characters to work with those. Even though they were bad characters, they all kind of had good qualities, right? Zoisite is actually, Zoisite was the female presenting bad guy, and then Zoisite mixed with Ruby is a really popular heart stone, opening up your heart. And I think that makes a lot of sense, because she was a very, she really felt a little bit. She had some feelings. And then you can also, sorry, I lost my place a little bit. I'm kind of listening to the music. It's a Sailor Moon symphony I found, and that's playing back there. You can also decorate your altar space with Sailor Moon. Now, you don't have to use toys like I did. I use toys because that's the stuff I happen to have. This is actually an alarm clock. Oh, I wish it still worked at Sang. This is actually just an alarm clock that I bought in New York that I really, really like. And of course, some of my dolls. My OG issue of Sailor Moon Super S with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer like cover. Yeah, super 90s. That's the most 90s thing I own, I think. But you don't have to use this kind of stuff. Some of the tools that they used in Sailor Moon were things like wands with pink and clear and red crystals. I posted a picture on Instagram of a rose quartz wand that I found at a shop here in town called Smudge Metaphysical when I used to work there. And it looked just like the transforming pen that, it looks just like the transforming pen that Sailor Moon uses to change her appearance. It's a really, really cool wand. I posted a picture of it. You guys should really check it out. They use chalices, holy chalices, holy grails. You can find really nice gold chalices. You can decorate them with the red, the pinks, the whites, the yellows, the hearts, the stars, the moons. Make it look like a little bit of a Lucky Charms magical item. They used swords and knives. They used magical chains, like I said, with Sailor Venus. I'm going to share that in a second. That's a really cool fact. Super cool. I'm just going to... So, Naoko Takeuchi, the creator of Sailor Moon, sorry, it's so small, used her chemistry degree to name the baddies. That makes so much sense. Yes, these are all like the actual chemical and mineral names of a lot of crystals. Like, we don't really use all of these all the time. Like, jadeite is a little bit different, but people don't really say beryl as a crystal. They say aquamarine, or it's whatever its kind of common nomenclature is based on its color. So yeah, that's really interesting. That's actually something that I didn't know. At the end, I'm going to want some more of those Sailor Moon facts. If any of you were super fans back in the day and have some cool Sailor Moon facts that you think relate to witchcraft, please throw them in the comments. I want to read these. I might wait a little bit, but I'm definitely going to read them because that is very cool. What was I saying now? Oh, you can work in their stuff, your Sailor Moon themed stuff into your altar. Because Sailor Moon has a lot of really great themes and vibes and energy. Things like empowerment for young women, legitimizing the... I'm going to have to turn that down. The legitimizing the strength and power, and also, you know, okay failures and mistakes that young girls make on their trip towards becoming the superheroes that they imagine. This is all energy you can definitely call up into your space. If you are someone who is not necessarily a woman, or maybe you are outside of the gender binary, or if you're gay, you can definitely use the imagery of Neptune and Uranus, who I know are really all over the internet. A lot of my gay friends, that's their favorite, right? And I don't blame them, because they were wonderful people. They were incredible heroes. They saved their friends. They were loving. They were very different. And they were both very kind of subversive about gender. Sailor Uranus presented as a boy a lot of the time, and she kind of laughed off when people thought she was a boy, and she's like, I don't really care what you think, that's okay. The Sailor Stars were a group of superheroes from the stars, of course. And in their disguise, they presented as male as rock stars. And one of them even had kind of a flirty relationship with Sailor Moon. And when it finally was shown that they were the women that they've been fighting with, or against, depending on where in the series you are, it wasn't like a big deal that Sailor Moon had been attracted to this woman all this time. It's like, oh, well, she is really beautiful. Sailor Moon regularly expressed almost like admiration for the beauty of her friends. When she first saw Sailor Mars, she kind of like peeked around. She's like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. She was blushing. She just thought she was the most beautiful girl in the whole world. It was really sweet. When Jupiter came around, she had a similar idea. She thought she noticed great beauty in Jupiter's like strength and her protective qualities, as well as some of her more beautiful, fine, feminine things, like her little rose earrings that she was wearing, even though she's beating the crap out of bullies. Stuff like that made it really clear that for the Sailor Scouts, you can be anyone you want. Anyone can be a Sailor Scout. It doesn't matter if you are even one of these super frilly feminine girls. If you are, that's okay. That's cool too. That's very strong. But you don't have to be. Also, if you present as a man in your regular life, you can totally put on the costume and the appearance and have the air of femininity to harness that strength in your other life, or when you need it, or whenever. I thought that was so cool. And that is such an incredible message, especially for that time. And that's such a great energy to bring into your space in your magical practice. Let me see here. Let me check my notes. I think that was almost everything that I had for you guys. You can absolutely find tons of magical items that fit with the Sailor Moon vibe. Things like crescent moons, which again usually represent the younger ages of women and of girls. So again, it really throws back to that strength of young women. Crescent moons, beautiful stars, constellations, all of the planets and planetary images, of course, and all of those planetary colors. You can work with candles and pick them for the planets. You can use the planets as elements. Like I said, a lot of these Sailor Scouts had a classical Asian element. Sailor Jupiter was the element of wood. We have Sailor Mercury, who is the element of water, things like that. So you can definitely incorporate it that way. And whenever you are working with the moon, you can call on some of this other energy or imagery as well. In the Canadian series, or in the North American English series, Sailor Moon's name was Serena, which is still a really beautiful, serene name, right? It's very moony. I like it. I think it should have been Selena because that's actually the moon name, but I digress. But in the Japanese series, they call her Usagi, which means bunny. Bunny! If I could pick up Jimmy Hoppa without him biting me, I would. And as I said in episode, what was it, 2 or 3, Rabbit Magic? The rabbit in the moon is a common myth in Asia. So they threw back to the moon and to the moon goddesses and to the mythology and the magic of the moon in every single thing they did in the show and in the manga, down to her name. So, oh my god! Good morning! You can see why maybe I don't wake up with that all the time. That's the alarm clock. I'm so excited that it went off. I can't believe it took so long. I have no idea how to set that thing. It's old school. I almost jumped out of my skin. Oh, that surprised me. So, are you guys Sailor Moon fans? Did Sailor Moon at all influence the way you viewed yourself or witchcraft or the way you connected to goddesses as a young person? Does Sailor Moon influence your magic now? Let me know while I go turn down that music. He's got a different tuxedo. I don't know where this one came from. Not sure. I never even had another Ken doll. All I had was a tuxedo mask doll, but there he is. He needs saving. Get him, Sailor Moon. So, do you guys have any questions or comments about Sailor Moon magic? Do you ever incorporate stuff like this, pop culture magic, especially something like Sailor Moon, into your magic on a regular basis? You might like it. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure that any adult will like it. Because like I said, the first time I watched it is when I was 8 years old. I was a little kid. So I have a huge nostalgia for it now. But sometimes it can be a little high-pitched. I'll warn you of that. It can be just a little bit high-pitched and squeaky and a little bit annoying. But it is very fun. If you guys have never watched it, you can totally check it out. I know you can find some stuff on YouTube. Don't watch Sailor Moon Crystal. That's the newest one they did, and it sucks butts. Pardon my French. It just is, it's not very good. The animation kind of sucks. They made it a little bit better, but I still didn't love it. I didn't love it at all. Yeah, pop culture magic is super fun. I think pop culture magic is really like it. If you don't, then it can be kind of off-putting. It's a little bit too new. A lot of people, they want their magic to seem kind of otherworldly and like arcane, and I get that. That's totally legit. I feel like that sometimes for sure. But I think working with these modern themes, especially if they had an impact on you, on your growth, on your maturity, on your feelings about feminism or women or witchcraft or magic or friendship and love, like the common themes were in the show. I think all of that is something you can definitely use in magic. So to me, there's no difference. Oh, grew up late, grew up in 96. I was already old. Reconnecting with Steven Universe, which is really inspired by Sailor Moon and has a ton of goddess archetypes and tarot imagery and witchiness. This is so true. Now, Steven Universe I haven't watched because I don't have a lot of access to TV. I should check it out online, but it's kind of like Game of Thrones. It's huge. I just, like, it's such a big commitment. There's so much. But Steven Universe is another show like this that is very, very much calling in some of that like kind of real world witchiness stuff that people already kind of recognize and using it on TV. Now, Steven Universe, I feel, is a little bit more specific and advanced because we live in an age where people were already inspired by stuff like Sailor Moon and have been using crystals and are using magic and new age philosophies and you know, love and positivity. It's definitely like the Sailor Moon of our time, I think, as far as low-key witchiness goes. I really think it is. And it shows how far we've come since Sailor Moon. You know, Steven Universe, I'm sure, gets in trouble all the time for the fact that they're very, like, it's very obvious that they are not homophobic, and they're so not homophobic at Steven Universe. There's, I see jokes online all the time where it's like, more gay stuff, put it in there, and it always makes me laugh, because Steven Universe is very, very open and accepting and tolerant and trying to bring kids into the fold where they are accepting all people. And so you don't have someone going, tone down that lesbian stuff and turn them into cousins. You don't have that with Steven Universe. So I really think Steven Universe is like the evolution of Sailor Moon, for sure. There's going to be some little fat girl just like me wearing a galaxy dress talking about the magic of Steven Universe and how it influenced her teen witchcraft one day. One day, or maybe a boy, or maybe someone who doesn't fit on the gender binary spectrum. Yeah, there totally is going to be. I truly believe that. I'm glad you brought up Steven Universe. I actually wanted to mention that, so thank you so much. I've never even heard of that. Yeah, it's adorable. Even if you just look up some of the images and stuff, it's really cool. They have this personification of stones and crystals. I really like it. And every time I look up stones and crystals online for images, if there's an official Steven Universe character for that crystal, I will find it in the images. If I look it up on Tumblr, I will find all of the unofficial Steven Universe characters, which is so cool. People draw tons of really amazing characters and use some of the qualities of the actual crystals. I was looking up Galaxite recently, and I found a couple of Galaxite drawings on Tumblr, and they work in some of the qualities of the crystal into their personification of Galaxite. So cool. So cool. I love that. That is magic and pop culture coming together for sure, and magic and art in general, because cartoons, animation, all of that is art. I love cartoons and animation. I am sure that is no surprise since I am basically a walking cartoon, but I love cartoons and animation. I think they are a fantastic form of art, and something like Sailor Moon often gets laughed at, you know, like if you're in a serious anime, everyone there loves Sailor Moon because those people know anime and they know Sailor Moon's the bomb, for sure. But even then, I still have guys and older guys that are like, Sailor Moon, that's some girl stuff. And they don't realize that these badass bitches did the same stuff, you know, that the X-Men did and that other superhero teams did. You know, they went into space, they traveled through time, they defeated evil, they used swords and, you know, big chains and big chalices and big weapons and big fireballs and stuff. They kicked ass. And they got their asses kicked. They were bruised up, cut up, they had broken arms. Some of them died. It was absolutely a very serious superhero show for us girls. And the only reason, or for anyone really who enjoyed seeing feminine imagery in a superhero show for the first time, it's just, I can't stress enough how big of a deal that was for me and how much that influenced me only 1 year later when I started looking into witchcraft and Wicca. Without Sailor Moon, I mean, I was already a kind of a witchy kid, but without Sailor Moon, I don't think I would have been so drawn to the planets and to stars and to space, because I generally find that stuff pretty fucking terrifying. Ooh, we got some more comments here. Let's read some of these out. Oh, okay, here we go. So Steven Universe is about a young boy who grows up in a household of interplanetary heroes who are these gorgeous, diverse, let's see more, female goddess archetypes that have crystal gems that power their bodies. He uses his crystal he got from his mother to save the world with them. Yeah, and now everyone's saying Steven Universe is the best. Like I said, Steven Universe is definitely the next step after Sailor Moon, for sure. It's an evolution. I'm completely convinced. I'm so glad you brought that up. I had forgotten to write it down and everything. Do any of you guys already have some Sailor Moon type stuff, or do you ever find Sailor Moon type stuff at metaphysical stores? I do all the time. Every time I see a rose quartz heart, I'm like, oh my god, that is so Sailor Moon. I like right away, and I want to pin it to my outfit with a bow. I want to so bad. Yeah, gender issues, like I mentioned, there are lots of those. Oh, Faye, I'm glad you're here. You're a real Sailor Moon fan. If you guys ever want to talk about Sailor Moon or share any Sailor Moon magic with me, you can absolutely do that. I love that. You can share it on my Facebook. You can send it to me on Twitter, Fat Feminist Witch. There's an I missing in feminist because Twitter is limits. Fat Feminist Witch. Fat Feminist Witch on Instagram, any of that. I love it. Sailor Moon Oracle cards, for the love of God. I need a link. I was just about to say, if anyone has ever seen Sailor Moon Tarot or Oracle cards, tell me now, because I was about to swear so loud. I need them. You guys saw how excited I got. I'm a little embarrassed. I don't usually break out my Sailor Moon collection in front of other people. Hold on. You can kind of see red hair up there. I have Queen Beryl, but her dress is gone. I can't find it. And she's nude. So I left her up there for a little bit of, just to make her feel better. Some dignity. She was dope. She was the only redheaded Sailor Moon. Drive me nuts. All my heroes were redheads except for Sailor Moon. She was the first blonde. First female superhero. First blonde. Okay. I think that's everything, isn't it? Do you guys have more stuff? Sex toy, but that's a coincidence. You can totally use that as a wand, I think. Depending on the type of toy, I think. It could probably be a wand. I always wanted to be Sailor Mars as a child. I always wanted Sailor Mars's hair. Yeah. Sailor Mars had beautiful hair, as did Sailor Jupiter, as did everyone. Who is everyone's favorite Sailor Scout? Because I can never pick one. I can never pick one. It's changed 100 times. I think Sailor Moon, just because she's the OG, and when I play Sailor Moon Drops, she's who I play with. But, I mean, Neptune. Oh, my girl. I love her. Everyone's got a favorite Sailor Scout. I know it. Yes, her hair. She was so sassy. Hell yeah, she was sassy. Look at, she wore like red pumps. She worked at a shrine, so she didn't fuck around. And like when dudes talked to her, she loved really sexy dudes, but she didn't give other dudes the time of day. She didn't give a shit. It was great. Sailor Chimmy, she was so cute. We all gotta get sky-clad sometime. Yeah, Queen Beryl's just getting sky-clad and, checking out her really spooky crystal ball. That's what she's doing. Glamour with, oh, I forgot even to mention that. Beauty magic. Oh, thank you. Oh my God, you're saving this live cast. Damn, Meg, I should hire you. Beauty magic. This is a big one for Sailor Moon. You guys could totally do beauty magic with Sailor Moon archetypes. In their transformation sequences, they were usually granted magical makeup to go along with their outfit. You can absolutely use Sailor Moon imagery and archetypes in your beauty magic. Like I said, get that heart-shaped rose quartz out and a couple of crescent moons. These are all symbols of beauty. Your moonstone, bring that into the bath. They worked with a magical chalice. You can get yourself a magical chalice with water in it. That's beauty. You can get yourself a Venus chain that you wear around your waist to try and attract love and beauty and make yourself more beautiful. Yes. Yeah, and Vela. Okay. Vela Moore. Incredible blog and website all about glamour and beauty magic. You guys absolutely have to check her out. Vela, I think you should put a link to your stuff. She also posts great stuff on Twitter. Glamour and beauty magic. I can't believe I almost forgot. Glamour and beauty magic are a big thing with Sailor Moon. And the best thing about the glamour and beauty magic with Sailor Moon is that you can be glamorous and beautiful in whatever way you want. All the Sailor Scouts dressed differently. They did their hair differently. They wore different kinds of makeup. Some of them didn't even present as women. They presented as gender fluid. They changed their outfits all of the time. So beauty magic and glamour magic and with Sailor Moon vibes is very like finding your own inner beauty and glamour and using whatever it is that makes you feel beautiful and glamorous to feel that way. So yes, glamour and beauty magic. Glamour.com. I hope you guys all check it out. It's seriously really good stuff. I really like glamour and beauty magic. I don't do a lot of beauty routine stuff. I don't put on a lot of makeup, though I did put on like sparkly pink lip gloss for you today. And I have this very old Avon gold powder stamp set from like 1985, and I broke that out. I'm gonna have such a cool pimple later. It's gonna be really nice. What do we got? Jupiter and Saturn. Some of my favorite planets. Saturn was not my favorite, mostly because I didn't see much of her, and she was also my best friend at the time. Her name was Ashley Wheeler. I don't talk to her now, so I hope she doesn't mind. But she was obsessed with Sailor Saturn. I dressed up as Sailor Moon for Halloween, and she was Sailor Saturn. So Sailor Saturn was really her thing. I didn't want to step on her turf. Okay, I think that is everything. If you guys have any questions or comments about Sailor Moon or magical girl magic, for the love of God, keep this conversation going in the comments on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere. I am always willing to talk about Sailor Moon magic with you. I am willing to see your beautiful Sailor Moon magical altars or wands or tools. And if you are looking for that wand that I posted a picture of, I got it at Smudge Metaphysical in Windsor, Ontario, but it was a few years ago that I saw it there. I don't know if they still have it or if they have a different one. You'd have to go in and find out. But take that picture to your local metaphysical store and ask around, because it's the most beautiful wand I've ever seen. I don't have it. I just played with it all the time when I worked there. So, yeah. All right. All of you, have a wonderful long weekend. If you are in a place that does Labor Day weekend, have a wonderful long weekend. If you haven't seen Sailor Moon, check it out. And I hope you have a very magical girl, spacey weekend. I hope it's wonderful. Bye, everybody. I'll see you next week on the next Seeker's Corner.